So we're going to go over anaerobic aseptic culture transfer to propagate some iron-respiring bacteria. So the first thing is make sure you have a clean lab smock, and we need to put on. So when you put these gloves on, it's important to put them over the cuffs because the cuffs carry a lot of dead skin cells and a lot of bacteria. So you want to cover that up, and then you want to clean your gloves and the work area where you're going to do the culture transfer. And you do that with a few sprays, squirts of a 10% bleach solution, so just household bleach is fine. Same thing to your gloves. And then we mix that with a little ethanol. Make sure you get the gloves nice and wet. Wipe down. Alright, so we're going to transfer our cultures from one existing anaerobic culture tube to another, and to do that we're going to use syringes, and these are sterile syringes prepackaged, and what we need to do is pre-fill the syringes with sterile anoxic gas, and we're going to use a sterile nitrogen stream. And once they're filled with nitrogen, we can inject the nitrogen into the culture tube and then use the pressure to backfill the syringe, and then we'll inject that culture into a sterile tube of fresh medium. So to get the sterile anoxic gas, we use what we call a Hungate apparatus. It consists of a tank containing 4% hydrogen, the balance nitrogen. The line running from that tank comes into a heated furnace, so this has a heating element that heats up to about 500 degrees centigrade, and in the center of it we have a copper wool-packed glass tube. That copper's got a nice pink color to it right now. That's because the hot hydrogen coming in through the gas line has reduced the copper to a nice elemental copper. So that's what you want to see, nice fresh pink copper. And that will act as a scavenger for any trace oxygen that's in the incoming gas stream. That oxygen will get reduced to water, and then that water just comes off as vapor. The gas line coming out is pretty hot, so we have to use silicone tubing. I use silicone just before and just after where the copper furnace is. So now what we have is nice anoxic gas, but then the next step is to sterilize it. So we pass it through a 0.2 micron filter, and this filter and the tubes past this filter all the way to the end of this cannula. This assembly was autoclaved as a unit, so everything inside this is sterile. And right now we're passing a slow stream of this gas through this right now, and as it passes through the filter it becomes filter sterilized. So what should be coming out of the tip of the cannula is both anoxic and sterile. That's exactly what we need. Okay, so the first step in actually doing a transfer is setting up the culture tube you're going to transfer from. We need to sterilize the septum that we're going to pierce with our sterile syringe, and then we will collect a sample and then transfer it to a fresh tube. So the first thing to do is to sterilize the cannula, and I don't know if you can get a close-up of that or not. The cannula is just like a long needle with a blunt tip, and it's what we're going to do is insert our syringe and needle into that cannula and fill and purge several times to make the syringe anoxic. So first thing will be to sterilize the cannula, and we'll do that with a Bunsen burner. 4% hydrogen is not flammable, but 10% I believe is the lower explosive limit. So when you buy your tank of hydrogen-nitrogen mix, make sure it's below the lower explosive limit, so 4% is fine. And what we'll do is we'll heat this up to a nice red glow. Alright, and we'll leave that burning in the background. And now we're going to turn up the gas flow through the system so we can get a decent amount of gas coming through. I just turned it up to where I could just barely hear the gas coming out. And that's usually a good rate for purging the syringe and needles. So I'll open up a fresh pack. We'll take out our sterile needle, so just pull it free and clear. Place the needle into the cannula, and then we just fill and expel at least really 5 times, but I do it at least 10 times just to, I don't know, just waste gas, make me feel more assured that it's nice and anoxic. Okay, well, that's got to be enough. All right. So you can see there's definitely positive pressure. When you're expelling gas, be sure to lift it up a little bit. Otherwise, you're just forcing the gas back against the gas screen. So fill one last time, and then you turn the gas down. Just leave that sitting there. It's fine right there. It's sterile inside, so the needle's protected. And the next step is to sterilize the septum of the culture you're going to collect. And to do that, you can use either Q-tips that have been autoclaved, or we have these swabs that we're going to use today. These were autoclaved. And I have a clean small GC vial that I like to hold this in. And I'm going to wet this down with ethanol. Careful near the flame. Okay, so you have a nice wet tip. And pick up the culture and scrub the surface. And then we'll flame off the ethanol. That's all we're doing, is just burning it off. We're not trying to heat the surface of the septum, we're just burning off the ethanol. And take your needle and syringe and push it through the middle and just inject the gas. Give it a little shake and then go ahead and collect the sample. So I'm going to do a ½ ml transfer to the next culture tube. And I'll take a little bit of gas with this. So when you fill, you want to invert and pull a little bit of gas up just to get the fluid out of the tip of the needle. If you don't, sometimes you'll get a little bit of pressure in the needle causing back spray and making a little mess on the counter, or possibly contaminating your workspace. So that helps to minimize that if you clear the needle with by pulling the fluid up and a little bit of gas into it first. Okay, and then just pull carefully on the barrel of the syringe. Okay, put that back. Okay, and now the tube that we're going to transfer to, and I should have opened that already. Open it now. Now that was just autoclave, so it should be sterile, but just in case, I'm going to go ahead and give it a little scrub, since I had to open that. Okay, we'll burn off the ethanol. Same thing. Pretty much get it into the center. Inject. Okay. And now pull the needle partway out and pull a vacuum on it. This again will help prevent from getting any spray back on the septum when you're finished. As soon as you're done, throw that right into your sharps container and then clean off and re-sterilize the septum. We'll do that also for the original culture. Turn off your Bunsen burner. Oh, actually, the next thing you want to do is re-sterilize this. Re-sterilize the cannula. The gas is off. Turn off the Bunsen burner. Okay, and then label your culture before you move on so you don't get confused as to what you're transferring. That's it.